Andrew, Tom and Charles are discussing population collapse, exacerbated by people choosing to get dogs rather than children. But which is better?
Fight!
We reached peak child, this is educational, we reached peak child about 15 years ago, and that is the point where there will never be more children than there are now. And so now we're just falling off. Now, I did a bit of research into this, and it turns out for us, it's nothing to worry about.
Oh,
because yes, the population will collapse, but the really worst part of that will be dead.
Yeah, so it's for the generation after us that are going to have to muddle through.
God, they got so much to deal with.
They've got a lot of shit to wade through,
Yeah.
those guys.
Yeah. But you've got to be careful. You've got to be careful when you say that, because it stops people having kids now. And if we don't have kids now, then when we're old, nobody's looking after us.
Mm.
It's kind of like their life is going to be terrible. It's going to be awful. Okay. Sometimes I joke. I've got family who've got small children who are therefore family also, and I always kind of joke with the family. I go, "Ooh, have you taught her how to use a gun yet?" You know, she's 4.
In preparation for the downfall of man.
Yeah. I'm like, in 30 years, she's going to need it. She's going to need it. Yeah. No, that's not. It's possible.
So do our generation need to have children, in theory?
Oh, it's
I feel
probably.
like our generation are getting dogs and plants.
Yeah, much more so. I'd much rather have dogs and plants than a child.
They stay the same size.
When it dies, you can just get a new one and it's fine.
Yeah. Well, ideally, children don't die.
Well,
before
exactly.
you.
That's what I'm saying.
So, because the problem with dogs is there's that kind of inbuilt grief situation, because that never really goes away. Because if you've raised a child, assuming you've raised them well, then when you're 80, the child that you have is 55, let's say, and they've made it that far, and they probably know how to look after themselves. So you're like, okay, even if you don't like them very much, you probably just go, oh, carry on. They'll be fine. I'm about to die, but they'll be fine. They'll be fine. If you're 80 and you've got a dog and you're feeling a bit unwell, you're like, oh, who's going to look after the dog? So you're worried about the dog then. And if you're younger than that, then you're going to outlive the dog. So you've got an inbuilt grief coming. I see these people. I was in the park today, because when it wasn't raining, it was actually quite nice today. One of those confused days. I don't know if you've ever been to Melbourne, but it was a bit like that, where it's just like raining, sunny. And I see people with their dogs, and I go, and I look at them, and I go, you probably got 4 dogs left. And that's like 4 grief stages. Because people really I don't think this is news. People get really attached to their dogs. They go, oh, I love my dog.
Yeah.
My dog's like family. I've never really understood that. But I can see why you would like something that you spent loads of time with, okay? So you're going, right, you're 20 years old, you buy a dog. It dies when you're 33.
If you're lucky.
Right, okay, so I'm being lucky here. You've got over it by the time you're 35. You get another dog. You're unlucky, and it dies when you're 42. That's unlucky, right? 7 years?
Yeah, that's not great.
Right, that's pretty bad. You've had 2. You're still a relatively young person, and you've had two dead dogs in your adult life. It may have happened when you were a kid as well.
Let's say you get a border collie puppy. That thing can live for like 18 years.
Right, that's what you should get.
That's a big chunk of your life gone on one dog.
What's the longest living dog?
Border collie.
I don't
That's
know,
why you brought it up.
What's the record? I just know a lot of very old sheepdogs. You know, my parents live in the country, and we go on a walk, and you go through a farmyard, and there's a border collie there, and the dog's like, oh, he was born in 72 or something, and these
hardy dog.
Yeah, hard dogs.
Mostly wheels now. And
yeah, large
the
ones.
one leg
that's
to drag
cute,
himself
isn't it?
along.
And back legs too.
Yeah. Just like if you've ever seen Return to Oz, that's for people who've seen that. Bit like that, but a dog. Yeah, so no, but it's far worse, because dogs Some dogs will start eating people if they're not fed, but most of those dogs that you see, that I see as well in the park, will be pretty helpless.
Well, we've bred them into a state of helplessness, haven't we,
I
really?
think so. They'll be they might kind of fight one another, but they won't really be a threat to us. Maybe, you know, take a duck from the pond or something, possibly, that kind of thing. It would be interesting. Terriers are quite good with rats.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, you see a terrier with a rat. That'll be on YouTube somewhere. Careful.
Vicious.
It surprises you because they're kind of yappy and you don't take them very seriously. Death. They're killers. They are killers.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, for sure. So we need to be definitely taking this very seriously if we care about people other than ourselves. And that's one of the things that we're not doing very well nowadays. Not me, but like, you know, young people. This is the worst thing. So what young people we have, they're not really kind of, I'm more interested in my phone actually. You go, sit down, I'll tell you some really important stuff that will change your life. I'm on this app, you know. That's kind of how it is.
Candy Crush or whatever they're doing.
Well done. You have endured this video to the bitter end. As a reward for your bravery, I'm going to beg you for help. Please subscribe to this silly channel. It is doing far worse than anyone expected, and people will be fired if things don't improve. My mortgage payments are very high. I can't afford to lose this job.